First things first, my friend Penny has actually released her own original merch line, except for one design which she has the permission of the original creator to sell in her own style. I'm personally in love with the 404 design, which is currently on screen. I will need it in a regular t-shirt, a scoop neck t-shirt, a v-neck t-shirt, and a pullover hoodie. Her store will be linked down below. The prints, there are currently 3 on the site, and I'm sure she'll come out with some more. You can get them in hoodies, different t-shirt styles, vest tops, and there are different materials with better qualities. So go and check out a smaller artist. This video will have different segments in it, and I will link timestamps to those down below. The first segment is his apology to everyone of any ethnicity and race that he may have ever offended. The second one is his statement, or lack thereof, on James Charles. And the third is some of the backlash he's receiving from big names. I watched Shane Dawson's apology video pretty much the second it came out, and I have some thoughts on it. I find it odd that you needed to be inspired by Jenna Marbles' apology video. That's strange. I understand perhaps you're anxious about how things may come across and therefore you took inspiration, but when it comes to apology videos, it should be your own apology and not inspired by something else. Secondly, I can't accept your apology for the things you have done and said that have offended people of African descent because I am not of African descent. However, I would have absolutely loved to have accepted your apology of the things you have done and said regarding Jewish people, but I can't because you didn't apologise for it. People may critique me by saying, well, he can't apologise for absolutely every single joke and skit and comment that he's made. However, you cannot generalise an apology by saying, well, if you are of any ethnicity or any race and I offended you, I'm sorry, because how are you supposed to grow and learn if you don't know specifically what you did wrong? If you don't acknowledge the anti-Semitic comments that you made, how am I supposed to know that you know they were wrong? How am I supposed to know if you know that the caricature of your Jewish friend you showed off is wrong because it's reminiscent of a certain political party's 1940 widespread and institutionally taught beliefs about Jewish people, which have continued to this day and until very recently were used as political cartoons for jokes and laughs, while perpetuating negative stereotypes about Jewish people. The comments and jokes surrounding Jews that Shane makes, or did make, is actually regurgitated ideals from that 1940s party and their sentiments surrounding Jewish people, which is, number 1, harmful to all Jews, and number 2, prejudice specifically regarding European Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, and these sentiments and ideas spread and were generalized to every single Jew, which whitewashes other ethnic groups within Jewish people. So not only were these prejudice ideas completely wrong about Ashkenazi Jews, it generalized the entire populace to be Ashkenazi Jews, as that was their target. I, in fact, am whitewashed on a daily basis because I appear white. However, I am not an Ashkenazi Jew. I'm a Sephardic Jew, an Israeli Jew, a Jew of the Mediterranean. I also don't appear to look Jewy, in Shane's words. You look Jewy. Really? So no, you can't generalise all of your offensive and harmful skits and comments and jokes to be anyone of any race, of any ethnicity, because you have to know about why that specific group was hurt by that specific comment or skit or joke. That's how you grow. So, if I was in fact being addressed when you said any other race or ethnicity that you apologise to, I do not accept that, because what that specific 1940s political party did in the attempt to rid themselves of my people only ended 75 years ago, and the propaganda has not died down. And your jokes and comments actually reflect what they really thought. Because my 90-year-old grandfather was 16 when that ended. He was alive and old enough to remember it. However, some of my distant uncles and aunts did not live to remember it. My other main thought on the video was that he again glazed over the James Charles allegations. People keep saying, oh, all these things are in his past. The statement he made, where he stated that he agreed with Tatty on a lot of things, was less than a week ago, and was very vague about the specifics of what he agreed on, therefore not confirming or denying the allegations against James, which are quite frankly unfounded. He is still complicit in these false allegations by not addressing them. The entire statement was to address everything. The apology video was to address everything, and he only apologised for saying that James needed a slice of humble pie. Shane, address the allegations and state whether you believe them or not, because right now, your friend Jeffrey, as of just a few weeks ago, in the Mom's Basement episode, stated again that he had evidence he would not show. Shane, you have not addressed the allegations in any way, shape, or form. You have not acknowledged the lack of evidence for them, and if you have the evidence, then they should be with the authorities. Jeffree Star is showing this supposed evidence to different influencers off air, but not to the police, not to the authorities. He's perpetuating this narrative without showing the evidence, and that is a problem. That is not drama or tea, it is an allegation, and you have to address this head on. You have to say what happened with James, what you believe, and you should come to the conclusion that most of us have, that they were fake, unless you know something we don't. Yes, that humble pie comment was a massive problem in that statement, but I, for one, am still concerned about the allegations that seemingly have no evidence. Prove me wrong, please. There should be none of this, we've talked about it privately and I will never discuss it for reasons I won't disclose. No. Is James what Jeffree said he was, and what we all assume you believe him to be based on your silence and your running around the topic? Either vindicate James because there's no evidence, or make a statement on James with evidence, and with the evidence that you or other people have, then take it to the authorities. Actually, preferably, take the evidence to your authorities and then make a statement. How about that? Right. Those were the 2 points that jumped out at me. Of course, there were other disgusting things in there that he glazed over and didn't go into at all. I would have said not as much to my liking, but basically just said, oh, I made some really disgusting, horrible jokes and I would never actually do that ever, haha, but didn't actually go into it. Speaking of disgusting things, one of the clips that came out was a video of Shane with his back to the camera, loudly, very vocally gratifying himself to a poster of Willow Smith, who at the time was 11 years old. I'm unsure that the family was aware of this previously, but now they definitely are aware of it. Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow's mother, tweeted out, "To Shane Dawson, I'm done with the excuses." By the way, this is possibly one of the most polite ways she could have called him out, because if that was my daughter, it wouldn't be pretty. It also appears that Jaden Smith, who is the older brother of Willow, has caught on to this as well. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. And then 15 minutes later he tweeted, "Shane Dawson, I am disgusted by you. You an 11-year-old girl who happens to be my sister is the furthest thing from funny and not okay in the slightest bit." This man was also doing blackface on the regular. As the youth, we need to support creators who support us and our morals. This is not okay. What's interesting about this is that one of the blackfaces Shane decided to do was of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a character played by Willow's father, Will Smith, meaning that Shane has made fun of and mocked and degraded both the father and the daughter. As of recording this, I haven't seen any tweets or posts by Willow or Will. However, I wonder how they feel, Shane. I wonder how they feel. Because in your apology, you went on and on about how you feel bad, you feel awful. What about them? I didn't have time to go over the entire apology and I missed out massive chunks in it, but I just wanted to address those two main things and the Smith family's response to Shane, because it's mainstream now. I think the people who the apology wasn't intended for took it well, whereas the people it was intended for didn't take it well. And that really says a lot about an apology.